Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game and The Game Nashville app. We're streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. And we are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. All right, we'll catch up with Adam Vingan here in just a little bit. But Predators win 2-1 last night, force a Game 6. Predators will be back here at Bridgestone Arena on Friday night. Still TBD on puck drop. Honestly, D-Mase, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a late puck drop. I was disappointed in Bridgestone Arena on this past Friday. I was there for Game 3, and Nick and I were sitting together, actually, and I understand traffic. I get it. I understand ticket prices are astronomical. I could totally and completely understand. But it wasn't the same feeling as like playoffs at Bridgestone Arena. It wasn't quite, Colorado Avalanche in 2022. That felt like, a snooze fest November game. It felt obviously big. There was hype. There was the hype video, that everyone was waving the towels. It just didn't feel quite the same.
It didn't feel playoff-ish. But, obviously, when a game is that early, people are trying to, navigate through downtown, and from what I heard, it was just a mess down there, last home game. So, I hope it is, 8:30, somewhere around that tip of ice off or puck drop. Excuse me, puck drop.
Ice off.
Yeah, ice off. I said ice off. What is the damn ice off?
Ice off?
It's not like they're having a dance or something.
That's what it is now.
Exactly. But, no, they have a puck drop. So,
yeah, what the hell is an ice off?
I have no idea.
What's up?
What's
How
going
we
on? So
doing?
if they can do it
How are you?
at 8:30, that'll give everybody time to get home from work and get themselves downtown. Hopefully there's not as much construction as it or whatever they were doing last week.
Have you been to Nashville before?
Yeah, you're right. There's so much. But
Welcome
I
to our city.
think they were preparing for the marathon too, wasn't they?
Yeah.
And it had a whole bunch of other stuff. So
There's
now
Morgan
it's
Wallen
clean.
on Friday.
Yes.
Seriously?
there is. And tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever.
So wait, you are pro 8:30 puck drop?
Yeah, I'm pro 8:30. Yeah, I'm pro 8. Why are you not pro 8:30?
No.
Why not? What do you want? 7:30?
7 o'clock's worked for 40-something games
But
all year.
don't you want everybody to be in their seats ready
Sure.
to go? So 8:30 is.
But why can't they be at 7?
Because people are just getting off work. They're rushing. Some people got to go to the burbs and come all the way back.
But people were in their seats for the regular season.
But that's the regular season. Playoffs is different.
Okay,
But if
7:30.
Bridgestone Arena is half full for a regular season game at puck drop,
Yeah,
obviously you want it
That's
to
fair.
be a little bit more full, but it's not going to be. We're not going to be talking about it on the radio if Bridgestone Arena is half full at puck drop.
If
during
I
a
had to
regular
guess,
season
it
game.
won't be 8:30.
I think it'll be either 6 or 7,
I
depending on
7:30.
think
Edmonton.
you are probably correct.
6
Because
is
if you
early.
use deductive reasoning to look at the other games that will be played
Excuse
on
me,
Friday.
college educated.
Yeah, how about that? MTSU, let's go. If you look at it, there's the other two possible games. One, I don't think is going to happen because I think Edmonton wins tonight and that series is over.
Okay.
Dallas is in Vegas, so they got to play that one. That's got to be
That
like
series
a
is
9
what,
o'clock.
2-2?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And they play tonight too,
Okay.
but the next game would be in
Friday.
Vegas, and so they would have to play that at 9 o'clock our time. So my guess is it's going to
It'll
be a
be at 7
6:37,
o'clock.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Adam Vingan joins us now, breaking down Game 5.
Hey,
We're
there's
looking ahead
Adam.
to Game 6. Adam, appreciate you for joining us. Predators force a Game 6, and we were talking about this earlier. Going into the playoffs, we said, okay, the formula for victory is going to be the same formula that it's been all season long. Roman Josi, Philip Forsberg, Gus Nyquist, Ryan O'Reilly, UC Saros carrying the charge. For majority of this series, that hasn't been the case. I've been asking myself, where's Philip Forsberg? Where's Roman Josi? Where's Gus Nyquist? But last night, 2 assists from Philip Forsberg. We saw Josi find the net on the power play nonetheless. Finally, we see some power play action. Gus Nyquist is starting to get heating up. Do you feel like there's a sort of a breakthrough that they're finding this formula for victory? Or is that's a one-off, that was Game 5, set it, forget it, move on to Game 6?
First off, I apologize for not answering the phone. I didn't hear it ring, so thank you for Chase for filling in capably when I was supposed to be.
Thank
on
you
the
for
radio.
not blaming Arlo for this one either. So
No, Arlo's in school, so I can't blame him for this one. I thought Ryan O'Reilly had a really interesting quote last night. I read it on NHL.com, and I'm paraphrasing here. He said that at this time of the year, in order to go deep, you need your biggest players, the guys that get paid the most money, to make it happen. And that's what that group of players did. For I believe there are few defensemen in the NHL that are capable of making plays like that. Two of them are in this series. Three of them are Norris Trophy finalists, which were announced today: Roman Josi, Quinn Hughes, and Cale Makar. So it was good to see Roman Josi make enough. It was enough to get through. I think it was Ryan O'Reilly had a drive-by screen to prevent Sheloffs from seeing that puck. And yeah, I think you look at the other side. Brock Besser has been huge for the Canucks in this series. JT Miller has been dominant in this series. Now, Elias Pettersson has not shown up yet. And Quinn Hughes, I thought had a better game last night. He was being punished by the Predators throughout the series, especially in Game 4. But their top players, when the chips were down, so to speak, made big plays. And Brock Besser had a hat trick, for God's sake, in Game 4 in regulation. So it was good to see the Predators' top players, do their part and send this series back to Nashville, which the first thing the Canucks said after they won Game 4, they did not want to do is have to schlep all the way back here for Game 6. And just as the Predators were feeling down, perhaps, had a long flight to think about potentially ending their season in Game 5, the Canucks now have to come back, and they're going to be the ones wondering if they missed a golden opportunity to close out the series on home ice, in a series that they have not played their best hockey in. So the pressure is squarely back on the Canucks, in my opinion.
And the pressure, can you imagine going back to Vancouver for Game 7? I mean,
Right,
I know that the Canadian market really is going to want to push for that Vancouver-Edmonton second-round series, but I think the more pressure that you can put on Vancouver, the better, especially considering Barry Trotz said, look, we don't have any pressure on us. All the pressure is squarely on the Canucks. Adam Vingan is with us. Luke Schenn out last night, Tyson Barrie in. And honestly, I didn't think he had that bad of a game. The production on the power play, he had an assist on that Josi goal on the power play. If you were coaching this team, what would be your defensive lineup approach, assuming Luke Schenn is healthy and good to go on Friday?
Yeah, that's a good question. And Chase and I talked about this on Sunday before Game 4 about potential lineup changes with Spencer Stastny having to come out of the lineup. And we both talked about, hey, the power play's been struggling in this series, and you have a guy on your bench whose bread and butter is being a power play quarterback, being a power play specialist, and that's Tyson Barrie. And yeah, I liked how he was on the power play yesterday, and that's made a big difference in this series. The Canucks penalty kill versus the Predators power play, and the power play has been rotten in this series. And I know a lot of Predators fans think back to the Dallas series in 2019 where they went, I believe, 0 for 15 on the power play. In my opinion, this is much worse because that team was the worst power play in the league during the regular season. I think they were at 12.9% for the season on the power play. So the fact that they went 0 for against Dallas was not a surprise. This power play has been really good, and it was really good in the second half of the season and has struggled in this series. So I actually think it's worse versus that 2019 playoff run, or playoff series, rather. But Barrie coming in, I liked what he added, that element he added to the power play. So, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, they won the game, and sometimes you don't want to mess with a winning lineup. So even though Luke Schenn might be available for Game 6, maybe you don't want to put him back in. Maybe you want Tyson Barrie to help, keep that power play going. So I would stick with it. I mean, even if Luke Schenn is healthy and available for Game 6, I liked what I saw enough from Tyson Barrie in Game 5 that I would actually keep him in the lineup even if Schenn is available.
We're talking with Adam Vingan discussing the Nashville Predators and their win last night versus the Vancouver Canucks 2-1. Now, Adam, do you think, because Caroline and I talked about this earlier, about how the Nashville Predators have had to adapt or adjust their style of play, because we understand at the beginning of the year it was we want to have the puck, keep the defensive end a lot more, and it seems now they've adjusted to now playing more of a defensive game than what they originally wanted to.
In Game 4, minus the end, of course. But in terms of dictating play, I thought they were the better team for sure in Game 4. And I know the Canucks came at them hard at the start of Game 5, but I thought they handled that storm and got back to playing their game in the second period. I think the Predators have been able to play more of their game than perhaps you would think. The Canucks, I believe, I think they have 92 shots on goal in this series. I think they're averaging like 18. I think that Sportsnet stat said last night that the 92 shot shell history. So a lot of shots, but they're also are missing the net or they're getting blocked. They're doing enough to alter some of these shots. So I really like the way the Predators have played. I mean, yes, the Canucks have more naturally gifted players offensively, like Besser and Miller and Hughes and Pettersson, than the Predators do, I think. But I think the Predators have, by and large, have been able to play this series on their terms more often than maybe it seems by the eye test.
Now, prior to the game, Adam, did you see what you wanted to see in the Nashville Predators last night? I know it was a hard-fought battle, and I know it was back and forth, and we didn't get to scoring into the third period. But did you see what you wanted to see during the game from the Nashville Predators?
I did in the second period. Mm-hmm. I liked the way they played in the second period. I thought they were very aggressive. I thought the Canucks came out really hard and were trying to put the game away as fast as they possibly could. And when Nikita Zadorov scored the goal to make it 1-0, my thought was, well, that's the ultimate backbreaker. I mean, the fancy stat expected goal model that I like to look at gave that shot a 1.1% chance of going in the net. And the fact that it did, I was just like, oh, that's got to be it. But the Predators, the other thing that impressed me was, as I said, the Canucks came out really hard to start the game. And if the Predators would have fallen behind by multiple goals early, I wouldn't have blamed them. I mean, that was a demoralizing loss in Game 5, and I know they talk about turning the page, but it's hard to forget something like that. I mean, you could speak to that more than I could, Derek. You were a professional athlete. But I feel like it's harder to shake that kind of loss off. So the fact that they were still very much in the game after that, the resolve that this team has demonstrated all season, how demoralizing it was. And
is this going to signing back? But we have
to steal at least one of the remaining 3 games, if not multiple of the 3 games. And using the Sportlogic data that I used last night does count as a steal because the margin of victory was 1. It was a 2-1 win for the Predators, and UC Saros saved 1.11 goals above expected. So he saved more goals than the difference in the game. So that he stole the game last night. Like, analytically, he stole the game last night. And you're going to need him to do that and probably one more time, at least, if you're going to win this series. So, look, we've talked about the fact that as a starter, he's never won a playoff series. And his win-loss record as a starter in the playoffs in his career isn't great. But if UC Saros bounces back and helps the Predators win 2 more games in this series and they eliminate the Canucks in 7, I think a lot of people who perhaps were saying that this guy can't win the big one will probably change their tune. But I think he's going to need at least one more performance like he did last night, soft goal notwithstanding, in order for this team to win the series.
It would at least change my approach to the conversation. Adam Vingan is with us, reacting to the Predators' 2-1 win in Game 5 last night, forcing a Game 6 back here at Bridgestone Arena on Friday night. Adam, the power play truly makes me nauseous. It makes me want to turn away. It makes me want to walk away and not watch for 2 minutes at a time because it has been that bad at times. Now, I know the Predators got a power play goal last night, making it a whopping 2 for 19 on the power play in the playoffs. Is that more the Predators struggling on the power play, or is that more the Canucks just figuring out how to stifle them on the penalty kill?
I'm going to give a little bit more of the credit to the Canucks here because their penalty kill has been playing really well. And it wasn't just playing well games. I think they've given up 2 power play goals in their past 9 games dating back to the end of the regular season. So they're playing really well. But you can see what they're doing. I mean, they're lining up alongside the blue line, and the Predators are trying to get in the zone, and they lose the puck, and it immediately goes down the other way. they've made it very difficult for the Predators to enter the offensive zone cleanly with possession. And I mean, it speaks to also the size of the players that they have on the penalty kill. I mean, Ian Cole is not a big player per se, but he's sturdy out there, and Nikita Zadorov is a monster among men. There's a wrestling term for Chase. So he's a big guy out there. Tyler Myers as well. So I think the Canucks have done a really good job making adjustments, because remember, the Predators scored on their first power play of the series. And since then, it took until Roman Josi last night to break that schneid for the Predators on the power play. So, I give credit to Rick Tocchet for making adjustments. Now it's up to Andrew Burnett to make more adjustments to those adjustments. But for me, I think I give a lot of credit to the Canucks penalty kill, because they had been playing well entering the series, and they got scored on their first chance against, and then they've made adjustments and have been really good.
Going into Game 5, I saw Shayna Goldman of The Athletic put out a concernometer for all teams facing a potential elimination game. So I'll ask you, either concernometer or hope-o-meter for Game 6, concerned that the Predators, their Stanley Cup playoff trip might be cut short in Game 6, or the hope-o-meter that they could force a Game 7 and ultimately win the series?
All right, I'm gonna cop out here and say the hope and concernometers are both out of 5 out of 10.
Oh, Adam, that's not allowed.
Come on, one has to be different from the other.
No, this series feels like a coin flip. It felt like
really
a coin
does.
flip throughout the series. I feel like each team has had its own stretch of time and stretch of games where they've been the better team. I think that the fact that the Predators they did a much better job, defending their 1-goal lead last night with the net empty on the other side. That was encouraging. The pressure's on Vancouver again now that they lost a chance to close it out on home ice, which they haven't done in, I think, 11 years. I think 2011 was the last time they won a playoff series on home ice, not including the bubble, because that's not really home ice. It's I know, like I said, it's a cop-out, but it really does feel like a coin flip. I mean, I can't predict what's going to happen in Game 6. If you were to tell me that the Predators would win and force a Game 7, I'd believe you. If you tell me that the Canucks figure it out and win the series in 6 games, I could believe you. That's just the way. I mean, that's what makes this such a good series. I mean, think about some of the other series around the league. Rangers Capitals, Rangers sweep. That was a nothing burger. The Carolina Hurricanes dominated the New York Islanders. That was nothing. Mm-hmm. The Colorado Avalanche whooped the Winnipeg Jets tushy for 5 games or whatever it was. That series wasn't close. I mean, this is a very entertaining series, very tight series. So I know, like I said, I know it's sort of a non-answer, but I could see it going either way. I really could.
I'm totally with you, Adam, that you could tell me that the Predators would have 4 shots on goal on Friday night and they won. I'd believe it.
Yeah, I would believe it too, considering how this series has gone.
It's a weird series.
Yeah, Adam, quickly before we get Predator in Vancouver series was going to be one of the better series, and it seems like it's turning out that way. But if you look at Toronto and Boston, you look at Dallas and Vegas, those series seems as if they're going 7, or at least 6, but maybe even 7.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto saved their season last night, and I think Bruins fans were probably getting a bit of deja vu, because last year the Bruins were up 3-1 in the first round against the Panthers with Game 5 on home ice with a chance to close it out. They lost in overtime and lost the series in 7. Yesterday the Bruins were up 3-1 on the Maple Leafs in the series with Game 5 at home with a chance to close out the series. They lost in overtime. So I think Bruins fans might be a bit nervous, considering it looks a lot like what happened last year. But the Toronto Maple Leafs have a way of losing in painful ways. The Dallas-Vegas series has been awesome. I mean, I think that's been my favorite series to watch of the other series. The road team has won all 4 games. If Vegas wins tonight and makes it 5-for-5, it'll be the first time in 5 years that the road team has won all 5 games to start a 7-game series. So I've really enjoyed that series. But some of the series in the Eastern Conference, it was clear that the favorite was significantly better. The Capitals deserve credit for pushing to make the playoffs, but they were not in the same league as the Rangers. Same with the Islanders against the Hurricanes. That series is going to be excellent. Rangers Hurricanes in the second round. That's going to be must-see TV if you're a hockey fan. But yeah, I mean the Predators Vancouver series has not been the sexiest series by any stretch of the imagination. Very low event, low scoring, but really, exhilarating game. So it's like sneaky good. I would say this series has been sneaky good.
Some periods have been sneaky snoozy as well. Or maybe sneaky anxiety ridden. But Adam Vingan, Adam, really appreciate you for stopping by and always appreciate your insight. We'll catch up with you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Adam. Adam Vingan, he is the very best. We'll continue the Predators conversation and get into your thoughts. And everything is on the table. Predators, Titans, we were talking Will Levis. Everybody thinks Will Levis stinks. So we'll get right into your phones coming up next. Everything is on the table. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. We're brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. Join Cromwell Media along with local athletes and musicians at Hermitage Golf Course on June 20th for the 615 Open. Make a difference while supporting Souls for Souls. Every $20 raised goes to a new pair of shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness. Sign up to play or sponsor at 615open.com. Appreciate Adam Vingan for joining us in the last segment. We are right into your phones, as promised, unless you have a thought, D-Mase.
Let's go to the phone.
Let's get to the phones. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com. Anything is on the table. Your Predators thoughts, your Titans thoughts, we are right to you. Scott in Shelbyville texts in, says, need to put Canucks jerseys on all the chairs on Friday when people come in. Need to put up on the scoreboard that it's period 3 and the Preds are down 2-0. Need to boo them when they take the ice. Paul McCann needs to do his quick voice like he does when the opponent scores, when they come out on the ice. Whatever we can do to make them think they are on the road. It is crazy how much we talk about home ice advantage, and you just want to, you want to force a game 6 to get back home. The road team has won the last 4 games.
Yeah, they have. But I mean, I wouldn't. I know the texture was more tongue in cheek and playing around, but
it's a thought.
Yeah, but even in that, the last home game, you had the game. It was yours.
It's true.
It wasn't like Vancouver came in and bullied you around and basically owned your ice. They didn't. Well, they did for like 2 minutes of the game. Or
you were the better team.
Yeah, you were the better team. Both games at home. So you just got to play. You just have to play 60 minutes of hockey. You have to. No lead is safe with the Vancouver Canucks. Even if there's 5 seconds left and you're up 1 goal, it's still not safe because we have seen one too many times where they throw that 6 man on the ice and it causes trouble for the Nashville Predators. Hell, it will cause trouble for a lot of teams.
6-on-5 last night. I was a nervous wreck.
Yeah, it was just like, oh my goodness, don't. This is Groundhog Day again. It's just like Groundhog Day here. But I think they have to. Obviously there'll be a sense of urgency for the team, but beyond that, just continue to play the way you have been playing and clean up a few things in those critical moments. Because you've played a good series. It's been a hard-fought series, and you've played a good series, 90% of the time. It's just those that in the playoffs, there's a razor's edge between who wins and who loses. Mm-hmm. And we see it's played out in each game. That razor's edge, it's played out in each game. So you need to clean up, the sort of the rough stuff around the edges and make sure you play 60 minutes of hockey.
I think it's a fair point to bring up, and I think you need to bring it up. Yeah. The fact that the Predators, they played well in Game 3. Mm-hmm. They played well in Game 4. Just didn't win. I know that shots on goal and shot attempts, all of those numbers, the box score numbers, they don't matter if you don't win. Nobody cares who outshot one or the other. That was the conversation after Game 2. Was, man, you got outshot by about 50 shots, but hey, you won, and that's all that matters. So I understand that nobody cares about the box score the morning after you lose. I get it. But you did play well at home. Yeah. And whether that is encouraging to you or discouraging to you that you were the better team and you still lost at home with a backup goaltender, I think you could kind of spin it either way. But like Adam said, when he joined us last segment, is this the kick in the butt that we saw after the 9-2 loss against Dallas when they went on the 18-game point streak? Mm-hmm. Or was it, hey, that was an independent game. Alexander Carrier saved the day. Mm-hmm. You played 2 good periods. You happened to find a win. You come back for Game 6, and it's completely unrelated. That I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll find out. Friday we'll find out whether, what they did last night will carry over into Friday. I hope it does. I hope that confidence continues to be on display for the Nashville Predators because – again, I know, there are some that don't believe in the momentum, but isn't that what we were talking about on an 18-point, streak? They had momentum and they were doing well and, they're rolling now. we were talking about that during the season. Why can't that be a thing in the playoffs? To me, the momentum, the confidence, that you're able to win on their ice. You're able to play that rough type of game, that low-scoring game, but still able to pull it out when you need to pull out, score the goals when you need to and stop them from scoring, more importantly. I think stuff like that does carry over, at least me.
What'd you make of Adam's point when he said, coming back to Bridgestone, now all the pressure's on Vancouver?
I think it is because Vancouver doesn't – they want to end it now.
Yeah.
They want this thing to be over now. And the longer it goes, the needle starts to sway more to the Nashville Predators. Vancouver, you were the highest ranked team coming in. You had the best record. Your roster seems to be a little bit better than the Nashville Predators. I know you're down 2 goalies, but hell, the third goalie's playing well too. So everything seems to have been in your favor.
He's playing really well.
Exactly. He's playing well. I would have never thought.
Big boy
Exactly.
saves
Had
last
I
night.
not known he was the third goalie, I would have thought he was a starter the way he's been playing.
Jared called him Applebee's waiters last night.
Hey, well, there you go. Applebee's waiters. Why did he say that? I don't understand why he said that. Applebee's waiters. But, yeah, I think the way the Nashville Predators are playing now, I think that momentum can sort of continue, or confidence can continue into this game, because Vancouver wants to end this now. If it goes back to Vancouver, I think there are going to be a lot of tight pants around that building, a lot of them.
See, I do agree. There's a lot of pressure on Vancouver, obviously. There's been pressure on Vancouver all series long. What we talked about going into the series, being in that market, having the expectations that they have. Andrew Burnett said, well, look, they've been good all season long. Everyone expects them to beat us. There's been pressure on Vancouver all season long, but it's not like the pressure has alleviated from you. You are still down in this series.
Yeah.
You have to win 2 games. They only have to win 1. There is still an insurmountable amount of pressure on this Predators team to not, just poop their pants like they did in Game 4. To come back here and win a playoff game at home. They don't want to lose this series at home. What a bummer. So I get it. Like, there is a lot of pressure on Vancouver, and I understand that they're probably pissed off, and the last thing that they want to do is come back to Nashville, hop on another 4 to 5 hour flight, and then go back to Vancouver whether they win or lose this game. They got to go back home somehow. So, yes, there's absolutely pressure on Vancouver, but there's still a lot of pressure on you as well.
Yeah, because you want to extend the series. And you want there to be a 7th game.
And it's the playoffs.
And it's the playoffs. Everything ramps up during the playoffs. But I do believe, I think the pressure is different. I think for the Nashville Predators, it's just the pressure of being home and winning at home. Like, we need to win a game at home because we hadn't won a game yet, in the playoffs at home. So the pressure for them is to win at home. The pressure for the Vancouver Canucks is to win in Nashville and not have to go, because if we go back to Vancouver, I mean, I'm sure the head coach is going to be pelted with questions about, what happened? Why couldn't you end it at home 2 days ago? Then you went up to Nashville, and it seems like, there was some after effects from the last game carried over to the game, game 6. And now you're home. What changes? How do the guys feel? You're a Canadian market. Now everybody's thinking, oh my goodness.
It's not, I would not want to be in that position.
Exactly.
If I was
So the pressure is different. They both have pressure on them. The Nashville Predators, pressure to win at home because they hadn't won yet in the playoffs at home and to extend the series. And Vancouver Canucks is just because, they were expected to win the series.
Yeah.
And you go back home and you go into that building, they'll be cheering loud, but there's going to be a lot of tightness going on around there,
And let's be honest, it's not acceptable in Vancouver, in that market, to lose to Nashville.
No.
They don't view this market, and they don't respect this market as a hockey market. Wes in Clarksville texts in about Will Levis. Says, my goal for Will Levis this year is to stay healthy and play all the games. That's step 1A.
Yeah, that's ground level stuff.
Yes, that is
Just stay healthy.
Stay healthy. That is the foundation for everything. Because quicker and quicker in the league does that moniker start to show up of injury prone.
Yeah, you can get injured. You can get injured one time or twice, and then all of a sudden you're injury prone.
Yeah.
That comes along with the territory. So, yeah, Will Levis does need to stay healthy, but a part of staying healthy is redoing that offensive line, and then him realizing that this is not a 1 or 2 year career. You're trying to get a 15, 16, 17-year career. That's what you're trying to get out of it. Now, whether he plays that long, that's different, but that's what you want to get out of it. So, which means, dude, get down.
Yeah.
Stop taking some of these hits. Unless it's I need it third down, like we need this, then just get down. Live to see another day.
I think that's kind of the maturity factor with Levis. And it's also a double-edged sword because part of what makes Will Levis part of his game is he is so tough that he is willing to kind of play with the chip on his shoulder, that he's willing to make those plays. But also, that comes with a price, and you also have to understand that your health is the most important thing for this football team and might be more important than picking up an extra yard or two and you going, head first into the face of a defensive
The fans
tackle.
love it, but the team
Fans
is like,
love it.
don't do that too many times.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I think that there is a maturity factor there. Matthew from Jolton Texan says, want to know why I'm sold on Will Levis? The Steelers game, the beating that he took and still had a chance in that game. He did. I mean, he stood right in the line of fire in that game. It was like you may as well not even have had an offensive line against the Steelers. They were just bullying him. And that's where the toughness comes in. And I think that's where a lot of the fans have fallen in love with Will Levis, is it's, by any means necessary, whatever I have to do. But again, you don't always have to be the tough guy.
Yeah. I'd rather you be in a lineup than you trying to be, Superman or trying to be tough, because eventually, it catches up with you. That's why Buffalo doesn't want, Josh Allen to run as much as he does, because eventually it will catch up with you in your career. Look at Ben Roethlisberger. Eventually it caught up with him, and he just became a statue.
He was tough to watch
taking
at the end of
those
his
big
career.
hits and all. It eventually catches up to you, and the Titans don't want that to be Will Levis. So, make a play when you need to make a play, but when you need to protect yourself, protect yourself.
Adam in Portland says, Vancouver is brick wallpaper. I see right through them. They're frauds. We're blowing them out Friday night. Woo!
I hope we do. Believe me, Adam, I am with you. I hope we do. But they don't play the game with words. They got to actually go out there and play. But again, I've said this. I think this has been one of the better series. It hasn't been a lot of scoring. It's been a mucky series, but it's been a good series, like you're into it.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a game where I think somebody turned it off, like, yeah, they're going to win, turn it off. No, it hadn't been that way.
And if you do feel that way,
exactly,
you haven't been watching enough of this
Absolutely.
series, because you know that things can change in a clip. It's the kind of series that one goal could do it. That when Zadorov scored last night, I thought, great, game's over.
You was like,
One
man,
goal, that's all it's going to
It's
take.
going to end up 1-0.
We'll wrap it up with some of our Game 5 thoughts and look ahead to Game 6 as well. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All right, Predator fans, it's time to tell you about Lone Pronto as the team heads back to Nashville for Friday's Game 6. Hey, imagine waking up next week when round 2's going on and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, or other personal loans where the interest rate is eating you up every month. Lone Pronto has a way to save you money, and that's the Express Equity line of credit. They use that money out of your home's equity, and you've got a better rate, and you can use that money to pay off those other high-interest loans. The average homeowner who does this saves over $850 a month. So your home's value is up. Use that to wipe out all those credit card bills, and do it quickly. That's the beauty of Lone Pronto's Equity Express line of credit. They can get you that cash fast because the process is so painless. They've got an AI-based system. You can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. So don't wait any longer. Put this plan into action. 615-499-5780 is the phone number. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Do you need UC Saros to steal at least one of the remaining three games, if not multiple of the three games? And, using the ScoreLogic data that I use, last night does count as a steal because the margin of victory was one. It was a 2-1 win for the Predators, and UC Saros saved 1.11 goals above expected. So he saved more goals than the difference in the game. So that he stole the game last night. Like, analytically, he stole the game and you're going to need him to do that probably one more time, at least, if you're going to win this series.
Adam Vinkin says, analytically, the numbers say that UC Saros stole the game last night. I think if you just watch the game, like, numbers be damned, you could probably come away with that, with a very similar conclusion. That, yeah, UC Saros led in the muffin from Nikita Zadorov, that he needed to stop. That Adam Vinkin said it was a 1.1% chance of that puck going in.
And it went in.
And it went in. So you're saying there's a chance. But other than that, I mean, UC Saros made some fantastic saves. So I will say, we've been previewing some of the offseason conversation that if UC Saros, pre-game 5, if UC Saros continued to play that he played, then we need to start having some difficult conversations about what is UC Saros' future. That if you're going to be an $8 million goaltender, you need to be able to steal games and series in the Stanley Cup playoffs. If UC Saros has 2 more games like he had last night, where he steals another game, and let's say he even steals 2, that he steals you 3 out of a 7-game series, I'm going to change my tune about the approach in the offseason.
Yeah.
I know you've been firm in your position.
Yeah.
How do you feel about UC Saros?
But that's why, I presented that question to Adam, because that's going to be a lot of people, regardless of how this series ends. If the Predators win or if they end up not winning this series, I think a lot of it, UC's future, some of it can be tied to how he played, during the playoffs. And rightfully so, I get it. But I'm not that knowledgeable in hockey to say, that this, was it truly all UC's fault? You see what I'm saying? Or was there other contributing factors? That's for, Barry.
They could be better in front of him.
Exactly.
They
That's
could have been better
Barry
in front of him at the end of Game 4.
So that's what will be a tell sign whether, things get done in the offseason or not. Because I can look at it, or we can look at it and say, well, yeah, it's been up and down, and maybe he's hurt himself a little bit in negotiations after the season or moving forward. But I don't know what they're really looking for. They see things that I don't see. Like you said, things in front of him may not have been 100% right, and it caused him to be in a not advantageous state for him or situation.
This series is not over yet.
No, it's not.
So we are not going to get into the nitty-gritty of those conversations, because we got a Game 6 here on Friday night.
Oh, yes, we do.
That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Stillman & Company's up next.
Be loving your people. Happy Wednesday and peace.